Are you ready? Are you tired of feeling exhausted and not having enough energy to live your life the way you want to have good relationships? Maybe you're brain fogged at work and aren't really getting the promotions you deserved. Maybe you're a little depressed and not moving very well. But being tired basically doesn't feel good, as you know. And I know if you're here, you want to get the energy to enjoy life, focus better, maybe get some promotions at work, get a raise. All of these things are super important. And if this is the case, please stick around because we're going to talk today about energy, how to get more energy, and the one hormone that makes all the difference. So I'm Dr. Ritamarie, and I am about to share this one hormone that balances your energy, this one hormone that people overlook all the time when they're talking about trying to get their energy back. Doctors overlook it, nurses, practitioners, everybody kind of overlooks this. It's not the first hormone that they look to if you're experiencing low energy. And it's super, super important. So I'm Dr. Ritamarie Loscalzo. I am the founder of the Institute of Nutritional Endocrinology. I've got the YouTube channel, Dr. Ritamarie Functional Health and Nutrition. I train health and wellness practitioners to get to the root cause and really help people to get well and overcome energy. And one of the things that I find most of the time in working with people is that their energy isn't what they think it should be, or what it should be actually, and what they deserve it to be. It's really a challenge if your energy is low from the standpoint of not being able to do all the things you want to do, right? You just don't have it. But what about the rest of your functions? What about your bowels if they don't have enough energy? Constipation, sluggish bowels. What about if your liver doesn't have enough energy? Slow detoxification, you end up gaining weight, you feel toxic, you can end up with circles under your eyes and feel awful. What about if your lungs don't have enough energy? Yeah, you maybe have difficulty breathing. It's hard for you to go up the stairs and exert. So, all of these things are foundational when it comes to low energy. And it's not just about not having enough energy to run around the block and to do those external things. It's really about your body and what you need to do. So, let's talk a little bit more about this. So, the hormone that we're going to be looking at is one that is overlooked in this particular context a lot. A lot of times you go to the doctor, you go to the nutritionist, you go to somebody or you watch videos and they're talking about how to get your energy back. Let's get your thyroid balanced. Let's get your adrenals balanced. Let's do mitochondria. All those things are super important. Let's look for anemia. Let's look for some other things. All of those things are important. But there's one hormone that if it's out of balance, you're going to be out of balance and you won't have enough energy. This hormone controls how much sugar and oxygen get into your cells. So your little mitochondria can make the energy currency called ATP. This one hormone is responsible for getting what you eat and turning it into energy. It basically is the hormone that affects the entry of glucose into the cells via these little receptors on the cells. This hormone, we need some extra stuff for this hormone to get in there. And so a lot of people are really deficient in the specific nutrients that allow this hormone to allow you to get energy. And big reveal, what is this hormone? Type in the comments if you know. It's insulin. And you might be saying insulin. I've heard of insulin, but I don't really know what it is. Or, oh, I know insulin. And that's what problem. And yeah, you're right when you talk about that. But not only diabetics need to be concerned about insulin. Everyone needs to be concerned about insulin. So let me tell you a couple of things that just help insulin to get in the way of your energy, right? A couple of things that insulin does that make you feel more sluggish, more tired, and accumulate some extra weight around your middle. Insulin is a fat storage hormone. Insulin puts the brakes on fat burning. Insulin has its claws into keeping you robust. So it's a storage hormone. So when you have sugar come into the system, into the blood after you eat a meal, so say you eat a meal and say the meal is not a high carb meal. Say the meal is not, you're not eating Twinkies and M&Ms. You're actually eating a balanced meal with vegetables, maybe some fruit, some grains, some meat, whatever you might have in your meal. Insulin is responsible for converting to or taking the sugar from that meal into the cells. And you may be saying, sugar, I didn't eat any sugar. How did that sugar get there? Well, the sugar comes from all the foods you eat. Vegetables have sugar in them. They have glucose in them. Fruits have glucose, and they also have fructose, and some have sucrose. The grains get converted downstream by the digestive tract, broken down from the starch into sugar. So after a meal, there's a flood of glucose into the bloodstream. Depending on what you eat, it's a big or small bolus of sugar that goes into there. Glucose is its name. And this glucose needs to get into your cells in order to energize you. Well, people who are diabetic end up with too much glucose in the blood and not enough in their cells. And here's something you probably don't already know about a glucose and the levels of glucose and how you feel. People think, oh, if I have too much glucose in my cells, I might be diabetic. If I have too much glucose in my blood. But if I don't have enough glucose in my blood, I'm going to feel, quote unquote, hypoglycemic. Hypoglycemic meaning kind of dizzy and spacey and all this. But I'm going to throw a monkey wrench into this. A lot of people who feel irritable and cranky and what's the word? Hangry in between meals, right? Those people oftentimes do not have low blood sugar. They actually have high blood sugar. They have low blood sugar and high blood sugar, and low intracellular sugar. So when these people don't get enough to eat, or their insulin receptors start to go, I don't know about this, they start to resist the storage, the putting of the glucose into the cells. So I'm here to tell you how to get that under control. And we'll be doing a series of videos here on the whole process of insulin and all the different things that it affects. Well, how does it make you tired? Well, if you have too much insulin in the bloodstream and you do not have something called insulin resistance, you're going to end up with low blood sugar. That's a true low blood sugar. Too much insulin, not insulin resistance, all that sugar gets stored into the cells, and you start to feel kind of tired, right? And it doesn't necessarily get put into the cells, it gets stored into the fat tissue. And that's what really causes the tiredness when we have too much insulin. When we have too much insulin over time, it causes those cells to become insulin resistant. When your cells become insulin resistant, then the insulin cannot effectively get the sugar into the cells. And so it turns away and it says, we got to get this sugar down because it's dangerous to have high sugar. It can hurt the eyes, it can hurt the kidneys, it can hurt the peripheral nerves, fingers and toes. And so what do? The insulin stores the sugar, converts it to fat, stores it. First, it'll store it in the liver. It'll store it in the muscle cells as glycogen, a storage form. But then okay, now there's still more sugar in the blood. I'm going to store it as fat. And so you can't burn fat when insulin's in the system. It can only store fat. So here's the deal. When you have too much insulin, you can create a situation over time called insulin resistance. And then it's as if you have too little insulin in the blood. But your body deals with all these dangers. And on a subsequent video, I'm going to talk to you about what's the danger of having high insulin. What's the danger of these type 1 diabetics who need to take insulin, taking too much insulin? Okay. So insulin is a fat storage hormone. Insulin is a hormone that if it is not just right, and if the receptors are not just right, you're going to feel tired. So one of the things that you can do in order to take this insulin problem under wraps and help is you need to change what you eat. You also need to look at your exercise levels so you get your muscles really good and primed to take on the insulin. And you need to get your stress under control and get your sleep under control. The other thing you need to do is you need to be able to space your meals. You've heard of this thing called intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting works wonders for helping insulin resistance. Well, it doesn't have to be that you go 2 days without eating. It doesn't even have to be that you go 24 or even 18, but even just starting with spacing your meals. Because whenever insulin is up, you're going to store fat and you're going to have no energy. So, basic stuff we're going to talk to you about in the subsequent videos that I'm going to be making about how you can get insulin, how you can make insulin your friend instead of your foe. Sound good? So, insulin is this hormone, this overlooked hormone that's key to getting your energy back. Now, you might say, well, what about thyroid? And what about all these other things? Thyroid's critical. But the studies show that unless you get the insulin and the blood sugar under control, the thyroid won't heal. No matter how much Synthroid or Armor Thyroid or herbs or supplements you take, if you don't get your sugar under control, your thyroid can't function well. So it's a double whammy, right? You're not getting the sugar into the cells, and you can't make energy. Your mitochondria, which makes the energy, can't make it, and your thyroid starts to fail. Okay, you have problems with your thyroid receptors. That's a story for another day. So, in general, what you need to do is change the way you think about food and to change the way you eat food. So, stay tuned for another video next in this series, which is going to talk to you about those foods that can help you to reverse insulin resistance, to get the sugar into the cells and out of the bloodstream, and to improve your energy. All right. So thank you for being here. Go ahead and subscribe, like this, pass this on to your friends, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. This is Dr. Ritamarie Loscalzo, founder of the Institute of Nutritional Endocrinology. And my mission is to help you to get your health back on track. My mission is to help change the broken system so that all the practitioners out there know how to help you to get your energy back on track, to know how to get your health back on track. So we will see you next time.